All right, here we go. It is another nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you as always by our friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get it delivered to your house, or head down to Dayton. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off your order. And then, summer's kind of winding down. Maybe stop at Schneider's, get yourself an ice ball with some ice cream when you're done. A little dessert action. Make it a family evening down in the Dayton Bellevue area. That's what we do. Just Kelsey makes me.
But they're going to be changing their hours.
Hours are adjusting here soon. We'll have more on that as we get closer. So Mondays and Tuesdays are going to be closed, and then be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for your Galactic fix. So stay tuned for more details on that as we get, it's August 1st, so that's actually shockingly close. Can't believe we're almost already to August in this crazy year.
I can.
Well, you've been through a lot. You've had some life changes here recently.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. It's going to be a quick one tonight because you've got to get over to PTP.
Yep.
Very popular guest on tonight. Everybody's very excited about it.
Kick Nerby.
Big Ten Media Day today. You haven't read up on this. I've read up a little bit. We went out to dinner tonight for Kelsey's birthday. She, of course, had the most expensive thing on the menu because
shocker.
She's 12. Why wouldn't she need blackened Chilean sea bass for dinner?
I feel horrible for whoever decides to take your daughter on a date and realizes they had $7 for hot dogs. Let's
talk about this real quick. This is my fault, right? Because I wanted my kid to have a developed palate, right? I didn't want her to be one of those kids that gets to high school and just eats chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese. Like, of course, she likes chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese, but enjoy some of the good things. And one of my 5 favorite things to eat in Cincinnati is the Chilean sea bass from Knotty Pine. So she has been exposed to that. And I thought she was going to go for something else on the menu, maybe a little bit more reasonable. And of course, nah, I'm having the Chilean sea bass tonight, Dad. It's my birthday. Okay.
You did this to yourself.
I did. Full acknowledgement. It is my fault.
Knowing is half the battle.
But I wanted to make sure she liked good food. Like, I think that's,
There's something to be said for that.
The sea bass was so good. I ate every last bite and got my free dessert.
And she said, and the sea bass was so good, and she had every last bite and her free dessert for her birthday.
We could hear it.
Yeah. So, anyhow. Big Ten Media Days today.
Yes.
Kind of dominated the news cycle, and their commissioner spoke into the world for whatever motives he may have had to speak it into the world, that as the work continues behind the scenes to decide what's next in the college football playoff, because remember, this contract is signed. I think this is important for people that don't know this. This contract is signed through 2025. There is no playoff.
The CFP contract.
The CFP contract is signed through 2025. There is nothing beyond 2025 on the books. So this all has to be worked out and agreed to and bid out for TV contracts and all that stuff between now and 2025, which is plenty of time.
Yes.
But it's not a situation where like the 4-team playoff rolls over or there's another option once we get to 2025. Like we could, if they don't get something worked out, we're back to just the bowl system and like voting on a champion, right? Because this is not, remember, it's not an NCAA deal. The schools want all the bowl money to themselves. The conferences want the bowl money to themselves. They have carefully crafted a system that keeps the NCAA and their money and their hands out of the process. And when I say money, meaning the NCAA doesn't get any money from the college football bowl system and playoffs.
Which
the
is
money
crazy.
Strictly, I know, but that's the way it's always been, and they very much want to keep it that way. So behind the scenes, the negotiations are still ongoing. There's a committee, of conference commissioners and whatnot that are deciding the future of college football's process to determine a champion. And it felt like for a long time, the 12-team playoff was the most logical and most agreeable situation until the Alliance decided that it wasn't best for them.
Yeah, how's that looking at this point?
Now, as we know, the Alliance is in shambles. And if the Pac-12 had just taken the playoff with an access spot, there's a decent chance USC and UCLA would have remained in the Pac-12 because they would have had fast-track access to a playoff.
Correct.
Now today, Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren floats out there. We're talking about 16. 16 is something you can't ignore. Why, Aaron, would the Big Ten be in favor of 16? Why would the SEC be in favor of 16?
Because it means you get more seats at the table.
And what happens when you get more seats at the table?
Your odds to win go up. There's also more money to be spread around by all the teams that are at the table because that goes to the rest of the conference. The same as like when Cincinnati made the CFP,
right.
That money went to the entire conference. So the more people you have getting pieces of that pie to spread out to the entire conference, sure, of course they're in favor of that.
What is your immediate reaction to going to 16? Because you have had a busy day. You have
You're getting my knee-jerk reaction. Yeah,
I'm getting your knee-jerk reaction that you were not dialed into Twitter today.
No.
What is your immediate thought on the playoff at 16?
Well, my immediate thought is that every poll from the preseason bullshit poll that they put out every single year before we've seen any teams playing is fixed. Let's call it what it is. It's a bullshit fixed poll, but you have to have something. No, you don't. You really don't. Thanks, ratings. Yeah. This is your fault, ESPN.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, those polls don't matter anymore because they don't have any say in the formula that determines the playoff.
You don't think it has anything to do with the people who vote that don't actually watch? They're not watching every game. They weren't watching every Cincinnati game.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's really paying attention to the AP or coaches poll
anymore. I do, but that's a different story for a different day. But I think that it starts off with the bullshit preseason poll and it extends because every poll thereafter, the entire season is based on that preseason poll. And I think you're going to have...
the CFP poll is a different animal. It's not
It's not far off. It's not far off.
There's a lot of discrepancies between
I think what's going to happen is you're going to have, unfortunately, I think that what happens with the CFP, they tried to keep teams out. They tried everything they could to keep Cincinnati out last year, and they're going to try everything they can to keep teams out going forward in whatever 8, 12, 16 teams. It doesn't matter. They're going to do everything they can. The SEC
at 16. Look, man. Nobody gives a shit who's number 17. Like, we will if there's 16 teams, but
I agree.
If you're not good enough to get in on your merits at 16, like,
the thing is, what are they basing it on? They're basing it largely on these people watching the games, which they're not watching the games. And they're basing it on, I think they're basing it on the polls. They're basing it on the wins and losses. And once you look at 16 teams, then you're certainly looking a little bit into those polls. You can't tell me that they're putting...
They look at their own poll and say,
They're also supposed to be watching the games according to their whatever their committee is. They supposedly watch the games. You think they're going to be watching 25 teams, all of their games to base their top 16 teams in? You cannot convince me for a second they're going to watch.
You know what I think would be really easy for them to do? Hire an editor and put a package together of basically football is a game that happens over 3.5, 4 hours that can be reduced to like 30 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to watch 12 and a half hours every week of football to make their decision.
If you're going to make this commitment, that seems reasonable.
Without touching a phone, without touching because if you pick that phone up to check a text message, to do whatever, you're losing time watching this condensed version of a game.
God.
No, why can't we have a system an actual electronic system that fixes this? You can't tell me that somebody can't come up with an algorithm. There's an algorithm on everything.
They did. It was the BCS, and people complain and bitch constantly about it.
Chad, you and I can't have a conversation without our phone knowing what the hell we were just talking about, condensing that conversation into an algorithm to try and sell us shit. You don't think that they can come up with an algorithm to actually tell us what teams should be in this 16-team playoff? Get out of here if you're trying to tell me otherwise. I'm not going to believe you.
I'm going to steal from Whitney Cummings, a fantastic comedian who just released a special on Netflix, where she said, guess what, Aaron? We used to put all of our data in a book and put that book on every porch in the country. Nobody picked up the book. Homeless people wipe their ass with your data. Nobody gives a shit about your data.
They do now. That's what did they say? Nothing's free. Nothing's free. Like games and different shit on your phone. It's not free. Facebook's not free. They're just trying to sell you stuff. It's all trying to get you to buy something. Get out of here. They're definitely interested in farming your data. Anyway, that's a different discussion for a different day.
Your tinfoil hat is on strong today.
That's fine. What I'm saying is there has to be a way for them to actually figure out who the best 16 teams are. And you cannot convince me.
There's no way because the schedules are so wildly different.
There is someone.
Everybody is so reduced anymore, especially with conferences going to 9 out of the 12 games are played in conference. You only get 3 chances outside of conference. 2 of those games are cupcakes just to make sure you can get to 6 wins. There's no way in this sport to equally quantify who is ranked properly where.
Chad, there is someone listening to this conversation right now in Silicon Valley already on our phones. And once you launch this, it's already being condensed into trying to sell us more stuff. Yes, they can absolutely take those 16 teams or 25 teams, whatever it is, condense it into an algorithm to try and tell us who the best teams are. And I know the BCS tried to do that, and it was not a good system, but that was not.
It's what you want.
How long?
All congregated into one.
Okay, 15 computers. Now they're running craziness to try and put together robot dogs that can shoot guns and whatever the hell else we got going on these days. Get out of here. There is no way that you can't put together an algorithm now using whatever terabyte's not even big anymore.
So how do you weigh conferences? What's the proper way to weight conferences? Because if you do it the way that you're saying, then there's going to be 16 SEC and Big Ten teams in the playoff because they have the best conferences. You're playing the best teams. You're proving yourself against the best opposition. The Big 12 or the ACC, it's Clemson and a bunch of trash. So Clemson doesn't get in because their algorithm doesn't work. Or do you weight the ACC and like somebody else? They're graded on a curve.
The Super Conference is going to be the biggest shit show we've ever seen, having all of these great teams crammed into the SEC, crammed into the Big Ten. This is why they wanted to expand the playoffs, is because they put
they want all the teams.
Too many teams in these super conferences. People are going to have 6-7 losses. No, this is a playoff team with 6 losses. Get out of here. Not here for it. I'm fired
on one today.
Man.
You're on one. I'm going to give everybody else a break for the rest. Like, I go smoke a joint or something.
I don't know what
is that legal out there in Humboldt or Meigs County?
Have you been to Ohio University? What are you talking
I
about?
have. I lived there for a while.
Yeah.
You got 10 minutes before the PTP. You better go calm down. Take a lap.
The dispensary is too far from here.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. So you're for or against a 16-team playoff?
I'm for it. You just have to
Clearly.
with the right computer program in place.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. It's the Nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. Brought to you, as always, by Galactic Fried Chicken.
See ya!